Hello, welcome back. You might notice that there's some new archways up on the extension to my vegetable garden, and I'm really pleased with how they are looking. The entire patch is now completely finished. All of the beds have been filled, and it's time to get on with that all-important huge April plant out. First on my list are these red flowered broad beans. They're looking a little bit leggy. I should have put them out quite some time ago, but let's hope that they recover. And I'm going to pop these in this little bed here. You might notice that these weren't planted in the really deep root trainers, which was a bit of a mistake of mine, but I didn't have any more, so they are absolutely desperate to get out. I did water them well this morning. You may have noticed I've not planted any broad beans right up against this archway, and that's because I did say in the last video that I was going to plant some more sweet peas around another archway, and this is the one I've chosen. You definitely get really good roots if you use the proper root trainer. And again, just like last week, I'm going to be planting the rest of them this side of the archway. Now the next thing to do is to make some support for the broad beans. I've absolutely no idea where my hori knife is at the moment. I remember thinking I'd left it outside and it needed to be safer somewhere, and I've got a feeling it's in the house. I'm pretty certain I was going to oil the handle, because as these are new beds, I actually can't get in the ground very easily. I do have a little hammer, but I'm pretty certain these will break if I try to hammer them. I'll give it a go. Now the hope with this is that we'll help them to sort of have some support, but I'm also hoping that it will keep the pigeons off them. You may also notice that there are some globe artichokes here in this end bed. Obviously, globe artichokes do actually grow quite tall, and I didn't want this to shade too much light from the asparagus that's growing behind it. So moving that here does open up a space down there, and I think that's where I'm going to put my other rhubarb. So let's get and do that next. I think this is going to be heavy. Ooh, not too bad. I think I'm going to have to dig a pretty big hole. I'm going to put it a little bit off centre so that it doesn't really fill the path too much. I don't walk up there very often, so I don't mind if it overhangs the bed that side. Now before I can plant it, I need to see if I can get it out of here. Oh, I don't think that'll be difficult. Oh, that was easier than I thought. Now this is the rhubarb crown that I had from Danny at the Grow Up channel. And Danny says that this is a Victoria. I'm really quite pleased with that. One of the first things I did this week was to get this floating shelf down. I was really running out of room in the greenhouses, which has meant that by bringing things into here that prefer it to be that little bit cooler anyway, I can make some space for more sowings in the greenhouse because I need to do more peas, I need to start my sunflowers off and the calendula. So I'm really pleased to have gotten this down, and I have to say I've completely forgotten just how brilliant it was to have it. So definitely think of putting one of those on your April job list. Next job today is to get these hoops moved because I want to plant out some brassicas. Well, it's cabbages I'm planting out. But I don't want to plant them in this bed because last year I had cabbages and garlic in this bed. So I need to give this bed a rest from brassicas. And I have plenty of other beds to choose anyway, don't I? So let's get these moved. One. While I carry on trying to get the rest of these out, this glorious weather has actually meant that all of our cattle are now outside. So I'm going to show you a little bit of footage of how uncalmly the older cattle went out. I'm sure you'll agree it's really lovely to see the cattle enjoying getting back out to grass. And if you stay tuned, I've got a really special surprise amongst the cattle to show you shortly. But for now, I'm going to plant out these cabbages. These are April cabbages and they've been suffering with the heat quite a bit in the polytunnel. And I mean, it's hot outside anyway at the moment, but I feel like they would do better just to be outside. Just have a look at spacing. Because I don't want them too close to the edge, otherwise the butterflies will still get them. Now I'm not adding any fertiliser into this bed because it's fresh compost and it has been fertilised. Not bad roots, not bad roots at all. Now before I water it, this isn't the end. Crop protection is needed from those butterflies and no doubt the pigeons. So I'm just putting the mesh over here that was on top of the garlic. So it should fit, same size beds. Right, they just need watering now. And this should see them well protected. And let's hope they cope all right with being planted out, because they certainly had started to not cope with being left indoors. Just giving the garlic a quick hoeing over because I need to get the finer mesh over the top of this now. We are heading into allium leaf miner season, and I don't know whether we have allium leaf miner here, but I am netting as a preventative measure. So while the cover is briefly off, I'll just deal with a few weeds that have started to come through. I quite like this little narrow end on the Wolf Garden tool. I have a wider version of this. This is really for the hand tool, but when you've got things planted, it does get between them better than the bigger head. I'm quite pleased with the germination now in the garlic bed. And I'm even pleased to see that the elephant garlic has finally germinated. Even though I have some more to plant. But the important thing right now is to just pick out these last little bits of weed from around them and get these covered back up. I have not been convinced that the black stuff was quite fine enough, and this isn't that much different, but I just didn't feel like it was worth the risk. It really is the big spring plant out today. I'm going to be planting the elephant garlic that I bought to just replace the ones from Kerry from down the plot that I didn't think was going to come up, but Kerry's has come up now, so thank you, Kerry. But I do have all of these spare, so I'm going to be planting them in this bed, and I'll put some onions in the other side of the bed as well before I net this one over. Oh, they've got some nice roots on them. Still can't get over how cheap these were. Now, while I plant the rest of this garlic, I'm going to let you see the little surprise that we've had on the farm this week, and it's very exciting. Just checking on the livestock, and we have a little surprise. Hello. Your mummy will not let me touch you. Hello. I think you'll agree the calf is really, really cute. And it was exactly 10 years to the day since we last had anything calfy on the farm. How spooky is that? So not quite sure how it happened. Clearly something that was sold as a bullock must have not been a bullock and must have still been a bull. So yeah, lovely little surprise for us. I've got all the garlic planted, and I have taken the opportunity to plant out some of my sensuary onions. Again, I'm worried about allium leaf miners, so the fact that these are in the polytunnel and open to any insects means I'm getting a little bit nervous. So I'm putting some out to see how they do, and I am leaving some behind to plant out later. So all I need to do now is get these watered and get these covered up as well to protect them. Now this is not as heavy as it looks. It's just a little bit of an awkward shape. But I've been treating myself to something else for the garden, and I think I'm going to put it together now. This would have been a good bit of cardboard for a no-dig raised bed. Only I've finished. Oh. Can you guess what it is? It's an obelisk, and it's a pretty giant one at that. Now, the reason I've chosen this is because I have bought a couple of really cheap small ones from Rowlinson Timbers. We have a factory outlet close to us, so they were only £18 each. And I felt like I wanted a bigger one to match them. So I searched long and hard to find one that was the same kind of style. And unfortunately, this one from Wayfair was the cheapest I could find, and it's by Zest. Pre-drilled screw holes, that's even better, because we didn't have pre-drilled screw holes before. Now, I'm saying this, I don't see any pre-drilled holes in the battens. There are no pre-drilled holes. Going to see if standing it in the soil will help me line it up. I think it might, you know. Ooh, she's a genius. Seems pretty solid. Now I just need to decide where it's going. Now I realise I've just made a mistake, because the whole point in this is that I'm going to be growing a climbing rose up it. Shouldn't I have planted the rose first? So this is the rose that I have to put in here, and this was actually a present from my sister and Emily, and this is called Claire Austin. Medium climbing rose. It's supposed to have an absolutely beautiful fragrance. So obviously I need to take the obelisk back off there and get this planted. And then what I'm going to be planting around here will just be dahlias. Right, I'm going to have to find a way of securing it a bit better as well. Now, I've never been the biggest fan of roses because I don't particularly like getting caught on thorns, but I was sent a pair of gloves recently from Slarmore to try out, and they predominantly sent them to me to try for brambles, but I haven't actually pulled any brambles yet, which is why they're looking so clean and new. But I thought they might just save me from getting scratched from the rose as well. Oh, they're quite comfy. They're really quite thick actually, but we'll see if they protect me. Now I'm going to put some fish blood and bone in the bottom of the hole and just mix it in, and then see if I can get this rose out. Oh, there you go, she's coming out. Which way shall we put you? I feel like that's the right way. That looks good. Give it a good grip with these gloves on. Can I feel thorns through the gloves? Well, a little bit, but not much. Right, I'll just heel her in. She looks good there, doesn't she? And she's looking very, very healthy. Right, let's try and get this obelisk back on now properly. without damaging her. Wasn't certain that it was sturdy enough because this is quite loose and deep compost, so I have knocked a couple of the road pins in the ground and I've cable tied them to the sides, and I have to say it is much firmer now. The last thing I want is a gust of wind to knock it over and break the rose. I just love it, absolutely love it. When the rose has started to grow up that obelisk and is flowering, it's going to look amazing, isn't it? This unseasonably warm weather is playing havoc with the oriental greens in here. But it is giving me the most amazing harvest of purple sprouting broccoli. And this is the 4th time now that I've harvested this. You saw me harvest it for the first time a couple of weeks ago, and I can barely keep up with it. But what is brilliant about this is it does freeze really, really well, and that was the whole intention of me growing it over winter, was that I would have this crop to freeze to eat during summer, because I've really struggled to grow broccoli or calabreses over summer. They just seem to bolt for me. I'm going to carry on harvesting these, and I'll catch you in the next video. Look after yourselves. Bye.